Francis Bacon, 1909 to 1993, was an Irish-born British figurative painter known for his raw, unsettling imagery, focusing on the human form. His subjects included crucifixions, portraits of popes, self-portraits, and portraits of close friends, with abstracted figures, sometimes isolated, in geometrical structures. Rejecting various classifications of his work, Bacon said he strove to render the brutality of fact. He built up a reputation as one of the giants of contemporary art with his unique style. He has a way of harnessing our deepest, darkest emotions. I've always hoped to portray things as directly and rawly as I possibly can, told to critic David Silver in 1966. And perhaps, if I come across directly, people feel that it is horrific. My introduction to Bacon was the movie Last Tango in Paris. Bernardo Bertolucci, the director, was inspired by Francis Bacon's art. The orange used in the film are directly influenced by Bacon. He took Marlon Brando to an exhibit. He said to Marlon, "You see this painting? Well, I want you to recreate that same intense pain." That was virtually the only direction I gave him on the film. When I finally saw his paintings at an exhibit at Los Angeles County Museum years later, I was struck by his beautiful painting style and approach. He was a meticulous painter. As an artist, I lost myself in his exquisite way of applying paint. Not only was his imagery a powerful force, every square inch of the painting was worth gazing at. Anger never looked so beautiful. This is the work of Anselm Kiefer, born March 1945. He's a German painter and sculptor. His works incorporate materials such as straw, ash, clay, lead, and shellac. The poems of Paul Celan have played a role in developing Kiefer's theme of German history and the horrors of the Holocaust, as have the spiritual concepts of Kabbalah. In his entire body of work, Kiefer argues with the past and addresses taboo and controversial issues from recent history. Themes from Nazi rule are particularly reflected in his work. For instance, the painting Margarita, Oil and Straw on Canvas, was inspired by Celan's well-known poem Todesfuge, Death Fugue. His works are characterized by an unflinching willingness to confront his culture's dark past and unrealized potential, in works that are often done on a large confrontational scale, well suited to the subjects. It is also characteristic of his work to find signatures and names of people of historical importance, legendary figures, or historical places. All of these are encoded sigils through which Kiefer seeks to process the past. This has resulted in his work being linked with the movement's New Symbolism and Neo-Expressionism. Kiefer values a spiritual connection with the materials he works with, extracting the spirit that already lives within them. In doing so, he transforms his materials with acid baths and physical blows with sticks and axes, among other processes. He often chooses material for their alchemical properties, lead in particular. Kiefer's initial attraction to lead arose when he had to repair aging pipes in the first house he owned. Eventually, he came to admire its physical and sensory qualities and began to discover more about its connection to alchemy. Physically, Kiefer specifically likes how the metal looks during the heating and melting process when he sees many colors, especially gold, which he associates to the symbolic gold sought by alchemists. Kiefer's use of straw in his work represents energy. He claims this is due to straw's physical qualities, including the color gold and its release of energy and heat when burned. The resulting ash makes way for new creation, thus echoing the motifs of transformation and the cycles of life. Kiefer also values the balance between order and chaos in his work, stating, "If there is too much order, the piece is dead. Or if there is much chaos, it doesn't cohere." In addition, he cares deeply about the space in which his work resides. He states that his works lose their power completely if put in the wrong spaces. So anger, angst, as explored by the figurative paintings of Francis Bacon, Kiefer portrays it in a grand scale with his landscapes. The earth can get angry too. Millions of years ago, the Pacific Northwest looked quite different. The eastern border of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho was a site of violent volcanic activity. Fissures spewed hot molten lava that reached the west coast in only a few days. Over the millions of years that followed, tectonic plate movements pushed the basalt formation upwards, and erosion carved away the sediments and stones, leaving the dramatic rocky coastline that is still in transition today. Haystack Rock, from its violent beginnings, is now a refuge. The Oregon National Wildlife Refuge, established in 1935 to protect the breeding grounds for seabirds and marine animals. Among the many species that make their home here are the tufted puffins, black oyster catchers, sea lions, and seals.